So I have a confession to make regarding my experience with Halo, and I want to talk about something that has really, I don't know, completely changed my perspective of Halo recently, in a good way, a very, very good way. And I'm really happy that I've come to this new way of thinking. So I grew up on Halo Combat Evolved. That was my first game that I played in the Halo series. I was 3 years old when I played that, and then moved to Halo 3. I skipped Halo 2 for some insane reasons, but I jumped to Halo 3, and ever since then, Halo 3 has been my favorite Halo game. I jumped into Halo Reach about maybe a year after it came out. I think I jumped into it around 2011, and I didn't really love some of the aspects of Halo Reach, and mainly I didn't love the gameplay. It was a little bit too different from Halo 3 for me. Halo 3 was just like the GOAT, and I absolutely loved it. So Halo Reach was at the time a pretty large departure from what we had experienced in Halo 3. The other thing I didn't really love about Halo Reach, and I'm talking multiplayer, by the way. At this point in my gaming journey, I really didn't even touch the campaign that much, except for Halo Combat Evolved. So right now I'm talking about multiplayer. Halo Reach's multiplayer, the other thing I didn't really love was the maps, because you guys know that Halo Reach is notorious for having a large number of their maps being Forge creations, and I didn't really love the color palette and the texture design of like the gray metal everywhere. So at the time, I didn't really love Halo Reach's gameplay, so I would honestly just go back and play Lone Wolf's Halo 3. That's what I did. Halo 4 came out. We know how that went, but I did put a lot of time into Halo 4. Halo 5, same thing. We know how that went. I put a decent amount of time into it, but eventually I stepped away because I just couldn't handle it anymore. And then Halo Infinite, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the story of modern Halo. With that being said, because I didn't really love the gameplay of Halo Reach when it first came out, I never actually got too deep into the experience of Halo Reach. And really, I'm talking from a story perspective. I never really played the campaign. I think up until recently, I only ever played maybe 1 or 2 missions of it. That's about it. I played a little bit of Firefight. In fact, when I did play Halo Reach when I was younger, that's what I chose to play, was Firefight. I didn't really play multiplayer, I played Firefight. So I never really got into the story of Halo Reach. And, you know, I love me some good old Master Chief, so not that I had anything against Noble Team and the Spartan 3s, but I was just more drawn to the Spartan 2s and Master Chief. That's just what I naturally was more drawn to. So I never really experienced much of Reach. Well, something has changed in my life this year, and my whole experience is kind of shifting, and I'm really happy for that. So this year, I decided that I was going to start reading. It's something I've struggled with my whole life. I've always wanted to read, but I just haven't been able to sit down and focus long enough to get through a whole novel. I could maybe sit down and read for like 30 minutes, and that's about all I could ever do up until this point. So, and I'm 26 as of now, so up until I turned 26 at the very beginning of this year, I had read a grand total of 1 novel my entire life. I'm not even kidding about that. 1 novel my entire life. And it was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. So, you know, I never really read, but I wanted to start reading. So this year I decided I'm going to sit down and I'm going to start reading. And one of the series of books that I wanted to read is the Halo novels. There's like a bajillion Halo novels. So I wanted to try them out and see what, you know, it was all about. Now, one thing I do want to preface, I know for a fact that Halo 4 and 5, you know, you kind of needed to read the novels in order to truly understand the story, and to this day, I think that's a horrible idea. I don't think that should be the case at all. I think the novels should be supplementary. They shouldn't be the driving force of the game's story, so just keep that in mind. But with all that being said, I wanted to get into the novels and see what everything was about. So I started with Halo: The Fall of Reach, the first novel that started everything for the Halo novels, which are just widely popular in the reading medium, in the book medium. I mean, they're like all New York Times bestsellers, basically. It's a huge part of the Halo ecosystem. I started with The Fall of Reach, and let me tell you, wow. I mean, that was an absolute pleasure of a read. I freaking loved reading The Fall of Reach. That up to this point, And I've actually read now almost 10 novels this year. Actually, I went from like 0 to like 10 this year. Not all Halo novels, some other novels as well. But so far, The Fall of Reach is easily one of my favorite novels that I've read this year, and it's so good. I love the origin story of the Master Chief. And then I was really surprised when going through the actual story of Reach and the invasion from the Covenant and the process of Reach actually falling. I was completely encapsulated by that story, and just learning about Keyes and the role that everybody played there at the end of the novel as we transition into where the Halo series begins with Halo Combat Evolved, and obviously going to the ring. That was super interesting. So then, the next book, I followed it up, and I read Halo the Flood, which was a great book, and I loved the novelization introduction to the Flood. Freaky. And I also loved the additional story that we got in that novel, because it really does kind of follow the events of the game, but it tells additional stories other than just the Master Chief. Like, you follow the Master Chief, and it does kind of recount some of what you experience in the game, but a lot of it is like additional stories that are happening at the same time from other characters that are actually with Chief on the ring, which is interesting because in the game, at least, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I never had any freaking clue that there was anyone else really that was there, you know, for the most part. I mean, obviously there were, but a lot of those other Marines and UNSC individuals died, right? So I didn't really know that there's like ODSTs and all these things that were on the ring. I had no idea. And then I loved getting a different perspective of actually following some of the Covenant. I can't remember his name off the top. Is it Yap Yap? Was that the name of the grunt that we fought? I can't remember. It might be Yap Yap. But I found that to be so interesting, right? And it provided a whole different perspective to me on the events of Halo CE and also the events of Reach. So then, naturally, I decided, all right, let's move on. Let's read the next one, Halo First Strike. Now, I'm currently in the middle of reading this novel. I am about 51% through, my Kindle says. So I've just, in First Strike, I've just gotten to the point. I literally just read the page where it said that the Covenant were targeting, the Covenant were targeting Earth for their next place that they were going. Their next destination was Earth. I just read that page and then flipped over to the next chapter. So I'm just halfway through the novel. So I have seemingly, I mean, I don't know yet because I haven't gotten there yet, but seemingly I have now experienced maybe the last bits of the Reach story. I don't know. But I was shocked to see that the first half of this novel talks a lot about Reach. I mean, a ton about Reach. And we get to see, you know, Red Team and Blue Team and kind of like what happened when Chief went to the Halo ring, what happened to the rest of his team that he sent to the surface of Reach, and then Dr. Halsey and what happened there. I mean, it's just, I don't know how to put this other than like, I really didn't care that much about Reach at all for my entirety of being a Halo fan. And I mean that quite truthfully. Like, I mean, I thought it was cool. You know, it's interesting, right? It's the story that sets up Master Chief, but I never really cared that much about the story of Reach until I started reading the books. And literally, because I've been reading First Strike, it made me want to finally play through the campaign of Halo Reach. And that's what you're seeing here on screen is me jumping through. I think this is mission 3 or 4 of the campaign, and this is the farthest that I've ever gotten. It's like at least twice as far as I've ever gotten in the campaign of Halo Reach, and I'm loving it. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, it's on normal mode. I don't care personally for the difficulties in campaigns like this. I just kind of want to experience what there is. So, I mean, I'm having a blast so far, and it's just been really interesting because now I have a completely different perspective on the origin story of Halo with Reach. I mean, the Fall of Reach has been such a fascinating tale, and also learning, you know, Master Chief's role in the Fall of Reach, but also all of the other Spartan 2s And then Ackerson and the Spartan 3 program. And I mean, so interesting. And then Cortana. Cortana is such an interesting character, at least specifically in First Strike. It's very interesting, at least in the first half of what I've read so far, how all the data that she, you know, picked up from being on the Halo ring, all of that Forerunner information and flood information, all the stuff that she got from being on the Halo has like literally slowed down her processing, and now she's like making mistakes or like not catching everything when she normally would. And it's, man, I tell you what, it's just been such an interesting change of perspectives for me to read these novels, and it has completely just bolstered my perspective of Halo Reach, and has made me provide or made me have a massively larger appreciation for this game from a story perspective. I still think, you know, the gameplay was kind of the start of the downfall of everything for Halo, but crazily enough, you know, today if we had a Halo game with this gameplay, we'd be feeling pretty solid. but from a story perspective, it's so interesting, and I'm so glad that I decided to start reading these novels. You know, I don't know how far I'm gonna get, but I definitely plan on finishing First Strike. I'm loving it so much. And then I think there's one more original novel. I think there's like a series of 4 novels that kind of told the story of Reach through 3, I believe. I think there's one more novel that I haven't gotten to yet. I'm definitely gonna at least read that, and then I'm gonna kind of like evaluate from there what I'm gonna read. I have Silent Storm, and I think I might want to read Silent Storm. There's another one, and then there's Shadows of Reach. I think that 3 is like a. I think those 3 is a set of 3 novels. I think, I'm not entirely sure, but anyways, I don't know. I'm just kind of yapping in this video, to be honest with you. But I've been wanting to talk a little bit about my experience reading these novels, and it's got me reinvigorated, I guess you could say, for Halo, and obviously, we've got a reveal for Halo coming here pretty damn soon, so, you know, we're pretty excited about that. You know, who knows, maybe we'll make some videos talking about that stuff as we get closer to it. But I just wanted to kind of talk and just share my appreciation for these novels. Eric Nyland is a phenomenal author. Who wrote The Flood? William Dietz? Is that how you say it? William Dietz? Great novel, great novel. These first 3 novels that I've read so far are absolutely fantastic. I will say, if I had to rank them so far, I would say that Fall of Reach is #1. I freaking love that book. It's so good. And honestly, I'm only halfway through, but First Strike is really good. I think I might put First Strike right up there with the Fall of Reach, and then The Flood shortly below. Eric Nyland is just such a phenomenal author. The way he writes and describes everything is just so really, it's just fantastic. So, I don't know, I'm just yapping, but we'll go and call it there. Thanks, guys, for watching. I appreciate it. If you found this at all enjoyable, feel free to give this video a like. I'd appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.